Hello, I'm Chrissy Seaton. Welcome to my channel. And I am proud to be a natural born woman. So as you can gather, that is what the topic of this video is going to be about. Being a woman, being a Noahide woman, being a Gentile woman, being a woman anywhere. It's about us, the woman, born woman. So, we have a bit of a dilemma recently, and I think we need to address it. And I have done a video previously about transgendering children, but this is on the topic of women, adult women such as us. So we have seen recently some media about it. Now recently we had in Australia and New Zealand, we had a woman by the name, you would have probably known her as Posey Parker or Kelly J. Keane, and she visited Australia and New Zealand to talk about women, women's rights, women's voice, the ability of women, natural born women, to be heard and have our rights honoured. Now, at that one particular meeting, and I know of also it happened in New Zealand, that she was actually verbally abused and attacked by transgender activists. There were all manner of things said and done to her and to other women who were there to hear her speak on our rights as women. Now, just to give you an example, the rights of us as women to have our own change room designated for women only, our own toilets designated for women only. And that's not an unreasonable thing to expect, not only for privacy but also for safety issues. Well, that's not happening. The transgender activists are saying that, they can come into the women's toilets. Now, we're not going to go into whether they're fully trans or whether they're partially or whether they've had surgical intervention or what, but they're more or less saying that we don't have any right to have our own toilet, public toilets, that they can use them as well. And this poses a real dangerous dilemma. So this sort of activity is really troubling from the point of view of several issues. Not just it's an outright assault on natural born women, but it's also an outrageous thing that is being allowed to happen. Now, when these protesters, you can have protesters at any rally, but when they honed in on this recent events that happened in Australia and New Zealand, it appeared that the trans activists had all the floor, and there were all sorts of things done, attacks both verbally and physically. There was tomato soup thrown over them, things like this, and people were pushed and shoved and hit, and the police seemed very docile when it come to showing any force to protect the women or to distract or detract the offenders from doing what they were doing. In other words, the police went soft. So, and it's on camera, can't be denied. So let's take a look at this now and say what is really behind this transgender movement. Let's not play games and use, euphemisms and, everything's fine, you can do and be what you want to be. Well, you can, But once you start infringing on the rights of another individual, another law-abiding individual who has the freedom of speech, then you have crossed the line. And we, as Noahide women, have to understand that. And we also need not be afraid to speak up. Now, where I live, the closest big shopping centre, I'm not talking about my little village that I go to regularly, but the closest big shopping centre I can go to, I can tell you right now that I had to walk from one end of the shopping centre to the very extreme other end to find a women's only toilet. All the rest are transgender. Yes, I know. And this is a large shopping centre. So in other words, they're squeezing women. I don't care where the toilet's placed, but you know, when you have a huge shopping centre, you have more than one set of toilets in them. They'll either be either end or what have you. But if you want a women's only toilet, you gotta walk a long way to find it. So that's just a sign of the times of what's happening. Now, the lady that was coming to speak in Australia and New Zealand, as I said, Kellie-Jay Keen or Posey Parker, she is a very good activist, common sense activist for women's rights. Now, we're talking about women such as us, natural-born women. And these rights of us as natural-born women are just being put aside. Authorities going soft on it. Everyone's afraid of offending the transgender community. And I really can't understand why common sense hasn't prevailed. What is going through the minds of every other person? Isn't there a modicum of common sense among some of these people that says, hey, listen, if you want an adult and you want a transgender, okay, but you go through the avenues of, you know, all the protocols and things. You can't just get up today and say I'm transgendering to a woman, put on a dress and lipstick and then demand to use our toilets. Not in this world. It's not going to happen. Not going to happen. We've all heard horror stories. What's to stop a man dressing up as a woman and coming in and beating up, or worse still, sexually assaulting women or children in a women's toilet? I mean, we have got to be sensible about this. We can't walk around being naive. Right. So the current trajectory of what's going on in this movement makes me have to think, what is our world going to look like when we get to 2030 or 2040? Is anyone game to make a prediction? Because it just seems to me that the rule of common sense has completely been overlooked and gone out the window. We're now living in this world of extreme everything. 0 to 100 in a split second. Everything is gone at an accelerated pace and in an extreme manner, just as this transgender episode's going. Now, the thing that we have to sort of understand is that the transgendering, this cultural and society breakdown, it's changing definitions, blurring meanings of actual reality. And so transgendering is not redefining self, no. It is a madness overshadowing the God-given norms of this world. And that's what it is. So, okay, the phrase gender dysphoria. Well, that is a mental health issue. And it needs to be a sensitivity applied to it, and understanding and proper interventions in terms of counselling and mental health care. It doesn't require full-on massive surgery of a child that's declared to be a mature minor, which I highlighted on in a previous video. So what are we seeing here is the complete breakdown of the 7 general categories of Noahide laws. And if you are a Noahide, you'll understand what I'm talking about. It almost is reminiscent of the pre-flood, isn't it? Where absolute madness took hold. There was all sorts of sexual impropriety, robbery, all manner of misbehaviour was going on. Certainly wasn't living, the society and the culture then was not living under the umbrella of the 7 divine principles, or 6 in those days before the flood, 6 divine principles that God had given us. The 7th, of course, was given to Noah after he left the ark. So this transgender movement really needs to be looked at and taken apart. Now, I suggest you just go on your computer, type in what's behind transgenderism or transgender, ultimate goal, things like that. You're going to get a plethora of information come up for and against it. Well, I suggest you listen to the people that have gone down the track and are now truly are mental health cases. Hear some of the things that they have to say. Common sense has to prevail. As human beings, we don't get everything we want. We don't wake up today and say, I want a Lamborghini. It doesn't happen that way, does it? There's laws we have to live by. It's as simple as that. And some of those are God-given natural laws. So, the long-term results of this stupidity that's going on in relation to gender identity, it has to stop. The long-term results are heartbreaking at the very early thought of it, even. So, I wonder how much body modification can a person receive before the law has to step in and say, first of all, I've got to protect that individual, they have mental health issues, and secondly, I have to arrest the perpetrators who are doing the alterations to their body, mutilating their body, etc. How long before law steps in? Soft law is not going to solve anything in this case. You're letting people ruin their lives. And it has to stop. There has to be, these people that have this gender dysphoria, they've basically been isolated from seeking any sort of counselling or treatment other than surgical. They're not allowed to go and see caregivers. They're not allowed to see psychiatrists and get all the proper support they should get. So if you're some sort of a counsellor and you decide you're going to give advice and help to people who suffer from this, and it is a debilitating disease, this gender dysphoria, there are ways people can be counselled and explained through that. It is a mental health issue. And yet, the law won't allow you to treat it that way. So, all these young people who are mentally disturbed and going through all these sorts of bodily changes and manipulations. I mean, there's even one case of someone who's not only transgender, but they've now gone on and want to be a reptile. So they're having some sort of implants and shape and ears removed and teeth removed, all sorts of manipulations to their body so they feel like they're a dragon or something. I mean, the people doing this surgery are criminals. Anybody that is at that extent, common sense has to tell you there is something wrong with their mental capabilities. It's not normal behaviour to want to have your body cut up and changed to look like some sort of a goanna or something. I mean, it's just, you just can't believe it. So how legal is it for doctors and surgeons to be going along with this? Not just with talking about sex change operations and things like that, but all these other, people who want to There's even people who want to have a limb removed because, they have this limb dysphoria or whatever they want to call it. So let's move along now and talk about the transgender population. These activists have become the bullies on the street now. They really have. And you only have to look at some film footage. Go on and look at some TV footage when you finish watching this video, and you'll see plenty of it. Police having to try and protect people, and in some cases they did a pretty limp effort at doing that. One would have to think that they are these transgender activists are eroding away the rights of real natural born women. They are saying, look at me, I can do and go wherever I want. Doesn't matter about you, born a woman, doesn't matter. I'm important. I'm the one that's important now. You listen to me, you do what I want. I mean, if that's not bullying, holding a gun at the head of society, I don't know what is. It's madness, and someone needs to call it out. It's absolute stupidity. These transgender activists are trying to overpower the real women who have legal rights by birth. By definition, they were born a woman. We have rights. You can't come in as a transgender person and erode all our rights because you say you're a woman, even if you've had the surgery. You can't erode the rights that a natural-born woman has, nor the capabilities that a natural-born woman has. The topics of toilets, as I mentioned before, it goes further than that. We're talking about change rooms at schools, swimming places and carnivals and things like that where young people are. It's serious. It is very, very serious. So real women now are facing this new danger of being verbally abused or physically attacked by transgender activists. It can't get much madder than that, can it? They're wanting to be transgender. They want to be women, make themselves into women, and yet the very thing they want to be, they're attacking us as women. That platform alone tells you there's got to be something wrong with the internal psyche of the whole organisation and movement. There's an underlying insidious mind shift among trans women movement. There is. And it goes along the lines of, anything you women can do, meaning us, we trans women can do better. We are the new women. We are better than you born women. This is the innuendo and the platform they're coming from. And yet, the very acts, the very way they're abusive, etc., and seen recently doing this, these activists, it totally defies what they're trying to claim they stand for. They're not real women, and it won't matter how much surgery or manipulation their body has or whatever they do, they are never going to be a real woman. Never. Can't happen. Can't happen. They can call themselves a woman and have plastic surgery, but you're not a woman. So, this anything you women can do, we trans women can do better. I mean, it is laughable, and we need to do just that, laugh in their face, because that's what it is. I've stopped feeling sorry for these adult people who won't listen to common sense. You go on the YouTube or any of the internet platforms and you find out of some of these people who sadly went through transgendering from male to female and now they regret it. You've only got to go on and type that in, transgender regrets or whatever it is, and you'll see plenty of them will come up and tell you, some of them have committed suicide. A lot of them have long-term mental health issues. And, you know, you can't just today turn into a woman and then tomorrow turn back into a man, no, then back. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. It's a life living arrangement that you're making to your body. You're rearranging your body parts that define what you are, whether you be male or female. So they're sort of, you know, they're the super women, the new women. Well, they might be super women in some ways because they're a heck of a lot stronger. It depends how long you've been a man and developed as a man compared to the strength of a woman. That may be the case. But I stand on the God-given truth of my birth, and that is, by the grace of God, I was born a woman. I'm a natural born woman because God wanted me to be that. So no matter how much surgery or drugs or delusions a male has, he will never be a real woman. No, never. He'll never be a natural-born woman like me and all the other natural-born women out there. You will never reproduce because you, by definition of your surgery, are rendered sterile. So, what are you? And for the transgender people who have discovered that they've made mistakes and have regrets, my sympathies are genuinely with you. I sincerely feel sorry for you, and I trust that you're getting the correct advice and health that you need to move through this dilemma that you now find yourself in. And please, I thank those of you who have stood up and spoken about the mistake and warning others not to do it, and I encourage you to continue doing that. It's the best thing that you can do is to talk about why they shouldn't do it. And I thank you for doing that. In the meantime, for the rest of the women, when people like Posey Parker speak out, other women, for women's rights, be it just to have a proper women-only toilet or change room, these are given rights that we deserve as women, and they should not be eroded by a sick society that thinks that they can just decide overnight they have legal rights to do this, to that, all of which is unfounded. Transgender people men who are transgendering to be a woman do not belong in a female toilet until they're completely what they think they are as a woman. No, not going to happen. There's too many dishonest people in this world that take advantage of a law like that. No, someone can pretend they're transgender, come in. How do if a being that is obviously a male, be it they are dressed like a woman and got lipstick on, I mean, you can tell. They can just say they're transgender and walk into the toilet and then attack some young person, some young woman. Is that okay? No, it's not okay. And that's the doorway that you're opening. You're opening a doorway. The law is allowing a doorway into assaults and all manner of things to happen to women just because they want to go to the toilet and just because the trans activists think that they should have full access to everything that a woman has, just because they say they are and because they want it. Well, no, you can't. You can't. Simple as that. Thank you all for listening. I appreciate the comments. I've had quite a number of emails sent to me, and I appreciate those. Some of them I haven't answered yet. I just haven't had a chance. But since my last video, I was quite surprised the number of emails I've had, and I will get back to you as soon as I possibly can. And I thank you for your support. In the meantime, please take care and God bless.